Record. Are we recording now? Yes, we're recording now.
Okay. We're good?
Yep, I'll keep trying to pull this up in the background.
Are we good to start up, Justin? Or should we wait?
Oh, you're good to start.
Okay. So it is approximately, I don't have my time in front of me now. 4:05 on Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020. I want to welcome everyone to the Simon Fairfield Public Library Trustees meeting. We do have a quorum, but we need to do a roll call. So I think the best way for me to do it is to go down as I see people, to just say your name and just say here. Does that work for everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ellie?
Here.
Okay. Barbara?
Here.
Dawn? Dawn? Dawn, are you here?
Sorry, I'm here. I was on mute.
Okay. Dana?
Here.
Ah, Kate.
Hello.
And Betty. Betty? Do we have Betty? Nick? Do we have Nick?
Yep, I am here.
Looking for Betty. I see her name there. Oh, you know what, Betty? I think she's on mute.
Oh, not very have light.
I think Betty has herself muted.
Oh,
Betty, if you hear me, can you unmute and say here? Okay, I see her. I know she was here. I see her there. All right, we're going to say Betty's here and move forward. So we have a quorum. The minutes were sent out by Ellie for our August meeting. Hopefully everyone has had a chance to read them. I'll open the floor to, do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
motion to accept.
Second?
Second.
All right. Are there any additions, corrections, questions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as written.
So moved.
Okay, a second?
Second,
All right. All those in favor of accepting the minutes as written, please say aye.
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 Are there any nays? Hearing none, we'll move forward to our financial report.
Hey, this is Justin. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I was trying to use the tablet, and it was not working for me. So I've switched to my phone.
All right. I have Justin's financial report in front of me from what he sent out this morning. Do we have it?
I'll have it up on the screen in just a minute.
Okay.
There. Can y'all see that?
Okay.
Can y'all see that? Is it good?
No,
Don't
Just
see
you.
anything.
we're seeing a picture of you.
Oh,
Unmoving.
all right. How about now? Is that better?
No.
I don't see anything.
I'm seeing people's face. I'm seeing people.
Looks like we're seeing your Zoom screen on the phone.
Okay, there's my face,
There
Yes.
you are.
which is not what we want. We want to share to that's no share screen. Don't show again. Start now. You see my phone screen now?
Yeah,
There
there.
we
Oh,
go.
there it is.
All
Got it.
right.
Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry about that, guys.
Not a problem.
So we're on financial report.
Yes.
Okay, there it is.
Okay.
We have an appropriation now, total town appropriation. The 204 62.34 if you include the renovation and design. Once you take it out, our actual budget for this year is 100 and or 251.
Okay.
Which so it's just over $250,000 is what our tax appropriation is this year.
Okay.
Um,
That's good.
in terms of expenditures, we're pretty much where we would expect to be at this point in the fiscal year. I've started putting Friends of the Library expenses into this report. So like if you see, the first thing is assets, which will show you what is in the accounts. And then the second is income, which will show you what we've taken in. And so the Friends of the Library keeps their own accounts. So whatever is income there for Friends of the Library is going to be whatever we've spent. So under expenses, you can, we've spent $1,044.90 of Friends of the Library money. $394.58 of special account money, and the rest is comes out of the personnel and general town appropriations. And now the numbers are all positive since we're not deficit spending anymore, which is good.
Very good. Very good. Do we have questions, comments on the financial report?
I do. On the appropriation, why do you have that old building thing in there, the library renovation design. The town did not appropriate that this year. So
It's
it was
just
not
showing up in
current
my,
appropriation.
so I like, I could come up with a different name for that subheading, but we've never had an account like that before. So I just plugged it in there in my hierarchy tree in my software.
I think it's going to confuse things in the long run because it's not available for expending anything right now. It has to be appropriated by the town to transfer it to spend it on X. And it's not. It's just sort of floating there. It's not retired. It's there, but I don't think it goes. It should be in the town appropriation because it isn't appropriated this year for for us to spend.
Okay.
So, where would that money show?
I don't know,
I'll have to create a new,
or put it in special accounts or something like that, but not in town appropriations. Or
I don't want to put it in the special accounts because the special accounts are,
designated.
yeah, the town, that's money that, is trustee money, which is in care of the town. Town appropriations is money that's been appropriated. This renovation design is money that was appropriated, but way back when. So I did like carry forward appropriation, or because I'll come up with a different way to organize it next month.
All right. Any other comments, questions? Okay. So we can move on to the director's report.
So first thing is pandemic, which is subdivided into open schedule and other. For open schedule, we're still operating on reduced hours to accommodate staff who cannot report to work because of immunocompromised status, and to accommodate for the additional workload that comes from dealing with the backlogs of quarantines at the beginning and ends of days, and the sanitizing the building.
Mhm.
Any comments on that before we move on to other?
Oh, well, I keep yak about me is that the open schedule. What I'm just concerned that you've cut back on hours as well. And although you say it's for the staff that cannot come to work because of being compromised medically, but I'm just concerned about the town meeting that happened last Saturday. And was it last Saturday or the Saturday before? Saturday before.
Saturday.
Yeah.
And then also where $90,000 was voted through for deputy fire chief. Now, somebody did ask at that meeting, well, what happens if our state money granted to the state, by the state to the town, falls below what it is this year? What's going to happen? Is it going to cause staff to be cut? And how does this $90,000 position figure into all of this? So that's one thing. The other thing was this past week, I think it was, at the selectmen's meeting, they had John Furno, the superintendent of the highway, in with a guy that had done a study of what work needs to be done on the Douglas roads. And that turned out to be like over $1 million a year is needed for the roads. So How's that going to affect the library? I really feel strongly that you should come up to speed with the number of hours and keep it the way it was before the pandemic happened. Return to what is it, 35 hours a week or something like that, hours that you are open. And I just feel strongly about that because you're on the edge of falling off, you know, what the town feels is essential by doing this. And I don't know, is the senior center still closed?
As far as I know, I have heard nothing from Patrice as far as programming goes, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now, I mean, because people consider seniors more essential than, or taking care of them more essential than the library. Now, they're not open, but the library, I just have this sick feeling is going to be the one that's attacked for the $90,000 deputy chief and the $1 million plus needs for the highway department's roads. A year. It's not like a one-shot deal. It's a year.
Other thoughts on that? Justin, how do you feel about expanding the hours?
I don't feel like we're there. But you know, I don't share the fears that Ellie has. I mean, the only feedback we have gotten from other departments, town administration, selectmen, patrons, and people at large is positive because we've moved ahead faster than any other library in the area.
Yes.
We're opened quicker. We've gotten up to speed. And I mean, whenever you compare us to the rest of, you know, the town government, I mean, town hall's not open to the public. The school
exactly. That's a very
service
good point.
is below what you would expect. I mean, we're, you know, the library, you know, and, you know, the town management is cognizant of this. You know, we've actually risen to the challenge and gone way above and beyond.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I do agree. And that should hold some weight. That absolutely should hold weight.
It does hold weight. I mean, you know, whenever you look at, you know, the budget adjustments, which happened this year, I mean, we had to reduce our, we reduced our operational ask by 2.5%, but we didn't reduce it by 2.5% of previous year. We reduced it by 2.5% of what would have been approved anyway, what was already in the budget. So I mean, like, our budget still got, you know, the most generous increase it ever has.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the schedule, I mean, there's just a lot that feeds into it. Being down a staff, and not having the coverage. I mean, you know, it's feasible that we could be on our normal schedule, but you know, if any, there would be no wiggle room. So I mean, if someone had to call out, we wouldn't have coverage. We would have to close, and it would be unexpected, and that's when people get mad.
Right.
Hello.
Other thoughts? Maybe this is something we need to maybe look into more in depth, or do we trust Justin's judgment on the number of hours in bringing everybody back on?
Justin, have you had any criticism about it from patrons?
No, we haven't had any criticism. Most everyone's just kind of happy we're open.
Well, What is the, okay, looking at the weekly hours now, where is it that the library is not open now where it had been open before?
Basically, we shaved 1 hour off of each day. So on Mondays and Wednesdays, we were open 10 to 5. Now it's 11 to 5.
Okay,
On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we were open 11 to 8. Now we're open 11 to 7. And on Saturdays, we're open from 9 to 1, and now we're open from 10 to 1.
I
So for
personally,
five a week is what we've
yeah,
goofed
I
in
don't, yeah, I don't really see how that would be putting out patrons because you're, like you say, you're cutting back an hour each day. You're still open those days and you're still offering evening hours and Saturday hours. I'm good with it. I don't know how
My
they're,
point of view, you're cutting out some of the slowest parts of the day. The 7 to 8 p.m. is, not a hot time at the library, I don't think, unless it's a programming night and we can't have programs. The 9 or the 10 o'clock in the morning to 11, again, you're not having any programming. And so I don't see that that's really doing any, robbing anybody. I have a hard time because I have the other hours memorized and I'll drop by at 10 and the library's
I've
closed,
done that.
and I hate that bit about the, I want to get my stuff back a day or two early because I hate the automatic renewal stuff. I think that's a false sense of the number of circulations you get. And so I try like crazy not to have something that's due today. I hope I brought it back 2 days ago so that it's in time to isolate for 24 hours, which I'm not sure, I haven't read that much about or the science for the reasoning that that's going to solve everybody's getting COVID-19 from the library concerns. But it just doesn't make that much sense to me. That's all. So
But you're agreeing that if you have to cut back, those are the right hours to cut back.
No, because I think that you shouldn't cut back. I don't think that the staff is compromised by opening up the same hours that you were open before, because those are slow times. And if you're going to use that as if somebody's out sick, well, then it affects everything. It's the whole day. It's not just that 1 hour that's affected. It's the whole day that's affected.
All right.
But that's me being me. So.
Well, I'm fine with the opening schedule that we have now.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I was fine with it too. Just Dawn.
Yeah, I just have to remember, I'm a morning person, so I'm the one who's guilty of showing up like I did the other day.
I haven't even been in yet.
Oh.
I'm still hiding up on my hill.
Old lady morning errands. And yeah, so, but that's not a problem as long as I know that that's when the library is open. And it's not even like those hours aren't restrictive to people who are working or on a schedule, because if they were going to be able to come to the library at 10 o'clock, most likely they're going to be able to wait and come at 11 o'clock. And the same thing in the evening, where if they could get there by 7 o'clock, the chances are that they're not going to be wanting to run into the library at 7:45. So I think it's covered for now. And maybe it's something that we could look at on an ongoing basis. Maybe next month we could revisit and see where everything is at. What does Justin feel comfortable with the staff, and
Yeah, I
what's
think
happening
just
with the,
remain on the agenda. I mean, it should be one of those open agenda items until we are back to normal.
exactly. I think that's a good thing to do. Maybe add that.
But I like the word if, as opposed to, we're never going to get back to normal, because that's what I'm
Exactly.
afraid is going to happen, is that we aren't ever going to get back
No,
to.
well, let's,
That's
No
why
one
I
wants that.
not if.
right.
Yeah, no, if was the right word, so. Or
Yeah.
when we get back, not if.
Exactly, yeah. So I think that would be a good thing to add, like an ongoing item, to just check in on circulation and attendance and things like that. So, if
The
we,
other option, but I mean, it's something that I would have to discuss with, and I don't like I mean, we furlough the employee who can't come and then reallocate those hours to someone else who can cover.
But you're talking about training somebody or just giving someone more hours?
Well, I mean, it would effectively be canning one person and then giving the hours to someone else.
That might be problematic.
is it, would that become an issue, an employment issue?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it would somehow.
However, everybody I know has taken some type of a hit financially with their work. So people have been furloughed, since March. This has been going on. So,
It's a step I'm hesitant to take,
yeah.
for obvious reasons. Especially when we are so much closer to our normative services than the other libraries in the area.
Yeah, and I think, and I was thinking that as this discussion was going on, is that what we have done, I think, is ahead of all, if not all, nearly all of the other towns in the area.
Right.
As far as getting out there and offering services in one way or another.
And we are accumulating new patrons because of it from other towns. I don't know if that'll stick, but.
Okay, so if we're okay with that, we'll add that as an ongoing agenda item and we'll move forward. So we're looking at circulation, right?
Oh, well, the next thing was the quarantine period.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time reading this. It's so small.
Talking about the open schedule. And I sent a big email about this last week, but basically our quarantine periods remains at 24 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I read that. And the studies it's interesting. Those studies are almost in opposition to what the scientists are saying is the viability of the virus, is that it's more, it's sent off by droplets, but it needs human contact, or it doesn't last that long. But then these studies that I think you sent it, and there was links on different studies, and there was one that was showing traces of it after 7 days on certain library materials.
Yeah,
When did you send this thing? Or did you leave me out of the sending?
No, you were in it. I replied to you.
Yes, yeah. It's a while back. He sent a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't read it. So,
It was
There
a
you
long
go.
email.
oh, well, that's probably why. I only can read 2 sentences. So,
Basically, to sum it up, I mean,
That was all over the place.
oh, okay. All right.
Studies, I mean, the different studies.
Yeah, I've
Well,
read
who
that
did
in
the
other
studies?
places.
Did
too.
Donald Trump do the studies, or?
no, it's a collaboration between the
No, it wouldn't exist if he did the study.
and oh heck, the IMLS and the OCLC have partnered together.
OCLC. That's that old Ohio thing.
Yeah.
Are they still around? My goodness.
Yeah, they're still like the default go-to worldwide catalog.
Jeez. Okay.
Um,
And what was the first one? The MBLC?
yeah, the MBLC, OCLC, and some institute. I don't remember the name of it. It's in the email.
Okay.
But
I'll
they've
look up that
been
email.
running studies ever since March, and each one, you know, they're refining their techniques. And you know, the first one they were like, you know, well, you know, 3 days and you're good. But then they started sort of, you know, redoing the study, but with things stacked on top of each other and inside bins, trying to replicate, you know, the environment that they would be in realistically in a library. And, you know, their most recent finding came out earlier in September. And, you know, after inoculating various types of materials with COVID-19, I mean, they were still detecting it on them outside of 7 days. And that led a lot of libraries immediately to start a 7-day quarantine period, or else a sterilization procedure, or you know, this and that and the other. The sterilization has proven ineffective because books are porous. But I mean, all that's to say, the question in my mind is, you know, just because you're detecting traces of the virus on something, how likely is it going to be to actually infect someone?
Right.
The concern in this case wouldn't be, you know, taking a book that has traces amount of COVID, you know, particles on it, bringing it in and then giving it out to another patron, because there's not going to be enough to matter. The
Right. And
bigger
that person would have to put their
get
in.
one with traces of COVID and another book with traces of COVID and another book with traces of COVID, all stacked on top of each other. And then you have your pages knee deep in them. That's where the bigger concern is.
Right.
But the, you know, I've talked to my staff about it. We've explained the studies. We've looked at it, and everyone is comfortable with the quarantine period of 24 hours. Because the book drop and return bin, we empty them every morning, and then they go into a bin, and then we check them in the following morning. So everything has been airing out for at least 24 hours.
Right.
And,
It's different from it being stacked, the books being stacked. And I had thought of that, okay, you put a trace, you put the virus on a book, you pile it up, it's in a warm, dark place. That's perfect for the virus to survive. And then you open that up after a certain period of time and you can still find traces of it because it's been preserved in there. So it means that then a patron would have to put their hand right on that spot where that is and then touch their face or
Lick
somehow.
their fingers, yeah.
Exactly. And the chances of it happening are pretty remote.
Are there bookstores open?
Yes,
Okay.
Barnes and Noble's open.
And you can go in there?
Yep, you can buy books. You can browse and buy books.
Okay. And do they close down every day for 24 hours?
Well, they don't close every day for 24 hours. No, I mean, I don't know what they do at night, but they.
No, I'm just saying, are they only open every other day?
Oh, no.
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 No, they're open every day.
They have regular hours.
And
Yeah.
how many people have caught COVID from Barnes and Noble? How many people have caught COVID from the library? Any library?
I think that's Justin's point, right? It's such a low incidence from libraries compared to so many other things.
Yeah.
Right. Like
But
what
it's a
was-
good point because I was in Barnes and Nobles a few weeks ago and they, people, you can't sit there and browse anymore the way you could before. You can only stand, but you can touch books and put them, pull them out and put them back and,
Lick them.
yeah.
Rub them on your face.
Pick them up and hug them. Because we all do that. We all love the smell of paper, right?
I always smell
I
books.
do. I like it. Okay. So can we move on? We're good? All right.
The
Thank
other
you,
only
Ernest, for all
part
that.
of the director's report is the CIRC report there, and it's
Yeah.
nothing surprising. Circulation is still continuing to rise, but it's not at last year's levels.
Well, of course not. Except for
ebooks,
digital.
but that's the ongoing.
Yeah.
Justin, I have a question about ebooks and e-audios. I noticed on those, the WOW library, is that what it's called? The Wednesday email that we get, or I
The
get?
series.
Yeah, and there was a whole bunch, like two or 3 weeks in a row that it was, over 400 ebooks were added to the list. I looked at it for 2 weeks and not every single one, just to see if the first one or the first 5 looked familiar from the previous week, but I couldn't understand why there were so many being added or why we had so many. And
The best
look
thing
at
to do
some
is
other
that it,
libraries' WOW book stuff, and they don't add that many. They'll have 0 added in a week, and you'll have over 400 added.
wait, you looked at it for other libraries and they had 0 and we had 400?
Yeah.
I have no idea what that's about, because I thought that was just done by the consortium. I know historically, ebooks wouldn't show up in a Wowbrary unless a person at CWMR's emailed them to let them know what was newly added. And she just really never bothered to do it because nobody really wanted that information. When they started popping up, I just assumed that they were more on top of it.
Okay.
But yeah, I would.
But it wasn't you spending a $1 $4 on ebooks.
No, I have not spent much lately on buying individual licenses for us. I just increased our cost per circ budget monthly to where like in the maximum of, I think I have it set $1,800 a month. I think it's like a $1,000 on e and $800 on e-audio, and then it cuts patrons off. And I've just been putting all of the ebook budget money there instead of trying to buy licenses. Because I feel like that's more effective. It ensures that the money going to loans instead of going to licenses, which may or may not generate loans, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
And it limits selection some. I mean, I think so far this fiscal year, the only electronic licenses I've bought outside of that or for Barbara, the books that you suggested.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And what was that?
It was a current bestseller in the political arena.
Okay. Well,
It was John. It was John Bolton's book.
okay. I have a question. Are you able to track when someone goes on to Libby or whatever and looks for an ebook and it's not available, or there's a 10-week wait or whatever? Is there a way that gets tracked, that's a patron? If you're on a waiting list, so say you go on a hold list. So do you know Douglas patrons who are on hold for a certain title?
I can track holds. So I can run a report at any given time and see how many people are waiting on something. From how long
That
they
might be interesting, just to see what the trend is.
and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I can run a report and send it out to you if you're interested.
That would be great. I'd like to know. I'm just curious. And a follow-up question would be, would that influence you in purchasing more licenses?
Yes, that has been the driver of me purchasing that's why I purchase what I do in Overdrive.
Okay.
Monitoring the whole queues, and there was a button that you could press to recommend to the library to buy a license if it didn't exist in the consortium.
Okay.
I've disabled that button because it was too problematic and it was way too expensive. I couldn't.
I go through Libby. That's what I use. So I'm just curious.
So yeah, like the the whenever I do purchase like the cost per circ licenses, I don't like I have it set where it won't let anybody borrow anything if it costs more than $5 for the loan, unless I manually enable it. And then as far as the extra licenses for our Advantage collection goes, that's that was purchasing that I was doing to try to keep those holds queues down. One of the reasons I'm not doing that is because we were, if you look on the circ report, where's it at? Tracking circulation so far this year, the total circs of our digital material versus the total digital circs at our library. 2029 ebook e-things were borrowed by Douglas patrons in August, but licenses that we had purchased in Advantage circed 2,747 times throughout CWMRs. And I tried to get the MBLC to count that towards our net lending and borrowing statistics, and it didn't count this past year, and that kind of checked me. So I was like, well, I'm gonna spend all of our money on Advantage, which will generate more circs for us. But there's not really any real incentive to contribute to the overall consortial collection right now. The way and we're trying to get that changed before next year, and it's a priority to appear in next year's ERA statistics. And at that point, I would reevaluate the decision. But right now, I'm not purchasing any ebook or e-audiobook, single copy use or limited metered access titles unless there's just unprecedented demand or someone approaches me about it, and makes a specific request.
Okay, very good.
And the cost per circ is so much easier because it just automatically happens.
Right. Very good. Excellent. Okay, moving on to old business, building projects. Building subcommittee. I think that's kind of what's happening with that.
I haven't had a sub in a while.
Yeah. I think we're like wrapped up right now in the auction. Trying to get that working, right?
Right. Now.
That off the ground. Which looks really good. We'll come up with that talk on that in a minute. So let's move on to a really fun topic: electrical systems, water damage, and cement walk. I see you've added something that will need to be looked at pretty quickly then with the plaster.
I mean, the basically, you know, all the vendors have been notified that the funds exist now, and so it's just a matter of scheduling. Jeff wants to schedule the electrical for, you know, like a Friday when we're not open.
Right.
Adam is the point of contact for the masons who are going to do the outside wall and the walk, and they'll be motivated to get it done pretty quickly before the weather reaches a point where they cannot.
Right, right.
So that is so all that stuff is just pending scheduling now.
Okay.
We've reached
Right.
out to them. The other, if we can just skip, because the other
Mm-hmm.
I listed here kind of plays into the same thing.
Right.
Uh,
That's what I think I was talking about that. That's what I
Yeah,
meant.
to notice the reason that we noticed that the exterior brick needed repaired was because of some water damage in a corner. And initially we were thinking, well, if they fix that out there, we can fix the inside. But because it took so long, because we had to wait for town meeting,
Mm,
that got worse.
yeah.
It's reached a point now where when after the exterior is fixed, we'll want to bring in a plasterer to come in and fix up that ceiling and wall.
Mm.
It's beyond what I can reasonably expect Gail to patch up at this point.
God bless Gail. You got to read that real fine print in your job description. Other duties as needed. She's a great one for that. Yeah. So I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that this happens. I mean, I've been on this board for a long time, not long, but I'm still kind of one of the new kids on the block. But I've seen so many projects go on and on and on. And by the time they get done, it becomes a bigger project. So this is something I hope that really gets done as quickly as possible. So then the hot water heater.
So I recommend getting it serviced by SOSHA, because every year, you know, if you have a hot water, if you have a boiler, you know, you're supposed to get it serviced every year. You're supposed to have a burner clean out done. Last year they charged $273 for it. But, you know, given the conversations about the boiler in the past, and since we're only using it for hot water, so it's only being used at a fraction of its capacity, I wanted to ask you guys if you think that it is a worthwhile expense before approving it. I mean, it was one of those things where Adam sent me an email. It was, you know, like, by the way, SOSHA is going to come in October and tune up your furnace. And I was like, well, no, I don't. Let me get trustee approval first, if they want to do it or not.
Okay. Okay, trustees, what do you say?
Well, how much does, I mean, if we're spending $273 last year, again this year, again next year, et cetera, how much does getting the hot water heater replaced with an electric one cost? And I don't think we've ever gotten an actual, I know that we've talked about it. We do need plumbers to help and electricians to help, and nobody's figured out how much it costs. So that's what I'd pass on it because I don't think it should be there. But I'm an advocate for the putting in an electric hot water heater. So
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. It'd be nice if we could just put that money towards a fund to buy a hot water heater, but I'm not sure that's possible.
Well, I know it used to be, I'm not sure if it still is, you used to be able to rent your hot water heater from the electric company. And you paid a fee every month, and it was minimal. It would work out probably, I mean, over a long period of time, eventually it would be the cost of actually purchasing the water heater. But I don't know.
I don't know. I think towns hate renting hot water heaters, or they
Yeah,
hate
that's
renting
true.
anything. They want to
No, I agree.
own it. They want to spend the big bucks and own it, own it.
Well, yeah, I understand. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
They
we
don't
were
think
we're
of,
going to try to get somebody to donate one.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened, and it just ended up not working out. The issue with replacing the hot water heater is that the town administrator basically said, I'm not going to approve any procurement that destroys that infrastructure, because he is of the opinion that we need that boiler there for a backup source of heat in case the power goes out and the mini splits stop working. And I tried to point out that if the power goes out, the boiler doesn't work either. But
Yep,
again,
that's
it's
true.
a matter of he's like
Yeah.
the library needs a backup heat source, so it's replacing it's not an option. Will stop you. So what we had talked about was trying to get a hot water heater donated in that we could pipe into the sinks, so that we were using electric for our sink water, and then just turning the big boiler off. That way it's there, it's a backup source, but we're not paying fuel to keep a pilot light running and keep a big old tank warm all the time, just so that we can do dishes once every blue moon, and people can have hot water in the bathrooms. I never knew how many people use hot water when they wash their hands. It's just never occurred to me, until I tried to turn off the hot water heater, and then I found out really quickly exactly how many people use hot water to wash their hands. But yeah, that was the situation. So at this point, like I don't see. I mean, I hate to be giving this kind of advice, but I mean, I don't really want to service it. It that's $273 that could be spent on something that is useful. Collections, supplies, all sorts of things, rather than serving a furnace, which doesn't serve much of a purpose. Even if we just serviced it every other year, I mean, it's one of those things that we're using it at such a fraction of its capacity, but we haven't turned it off entirely. Whenever you turn it off, it is whenever things start to like rust and gunk up.
Right. That's the hotline.
Hey.
Are we okay?
is
Yeah.
there, can we talk again?
Yes.
Is there an easy way to just put in an electric hot water heater that attaches to the sink upstairs, the bathroom, and the meeting room? that doesn't take too invasive a happening. And I think that's what we need to get a quote on all of that, because I prefer, I mean, back in when Sosha first came to try to clean the furnace, they said that they would take it out and keep all the oil and do it for free, but I guess that's gone by the wayside. But we never did find out how much it costs with an electrician and plumbers to fix all of that.
Mm.
You know, but I'd go with what you're recommending, but I'd move forward to really figure out how to replace the hot water heater to bring hot water to
Right. I
not
think right.
using the furnace.
I think what we need to do right now, Ellie, is kind of back up and look at just what we're looking at now to vote on. Do we want to bypass having it cleaned this year? And then again, resurrect this idea and look into what other options we might have.
I just don't want it to drag on for another 2 years.
I
mean,
agree with
it's been
you. I
at least 2
totally
years.
agree. I totally agree. But is this the time to vote on something that could be, again, that could be a good sized project, or at least a project in terms of getting our options, finding out our options. As far as, is there, you know, I understand it now that I say it, I understand, and I remember that communities don't want to rent things, they want to own them. So I think right now, and for this meeting here, to decide whether or not we're going to move forward with having the furnace cleaned this year. I think that's the discussion right now.
Right, because I think, didn't Justin say that was coming up in October? So we have now to say we're not going to do it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I'd support that, but I'd also like to have a second
To investigate, yeah.
yeah, and put a deadline on it that we will have our ducks in a row by March or something like that.
Right.
We will.
All right, so we need, okay, so it looks like we're
Or
going to need,
with costs for the plumber, electrician, and a new water heater.
right. So it looks like we need to do 2 motions and 2 votes. First is, do we want to bypass having the furnace cleaned this year?
Yes.
All right, I would entertain a motion. Yeah.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All right. Any further discussion or questions on bypassing the furnace cleaning this year? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor of bypassing having the furnace cleaned for this year right now, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Do we have opposed? All right. Hearing none, it
Yes.
carries unanimous. Yes?
Wasn't that an opposing?
I don't know. Who said aye at the end?
Nick, I
it
think.
was Nick.
Nick.
Oh, no, I was agreeing. I was saying yes.
Oh,
okay.
Okay.
I was agreeing with you guys.
Little
Sorry
late
about
on the
that.
upswing, but that's okay.
My delay response. I apologize.
Okay.
All right. Okay, then the second is Ellie. Can you explain what you would like to have us do?
Let's see. I move that we put I don't know how many, what's October, November, December, January, February, March, a 6-month deadline, and it could happen sooner than that, of investigating the cost for installing an electric hot water heater, including labor costs for electricians and plumbers.
Okay. Second?
Second,
All right. Discussion?
The third part of this would be get rid of the old furnace after you get the water heater installed.
Right.
That would be, that
Do you want to amend your motion then?
Yeah.
To include removal of the.
No, I wouldn't do it right now because that's going to be the costly thing unless SOSHA says, unless there's a ton of oil left in the tank and they'll
Okay.
take it away for free or whatever.
All right, so the motion is on the floor with a second for investigating cost and installation, labor, all the costs involved in switching over to an electric water heater. All right? Further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. And we will add that to our ongoing agenda items. All right. I think we already talked about about the plastering, so we can move on to under grants, capital campaign, and it says see friends later on agenda.
Okay.
Okay. Any other under grants? Hearing none. LRP updates, nothing to report. Okay. Let's move on to Friends. Let's hear about the Friends.
Friends are having their fantastic auction starting October 3rd. Justin, I think, has it up and running so that you can look at all the items now, which is great. So the whole community can look at it and just get excited about what you want to bid on.
Right.
There's over 80 items, probably over 100 items, because Justin has and his staff have worked hard to have bundles of like books to auction off, like fiction or mysteries or authors or whatever. We, Carolyn Gorbel and I had done some cookbooks that I think came from the Downses donation. And so that's exciting that that's all up and running and for everyone to see, and that the auction actually starts 22nd, a week from this coming Saturday.
So by our next meeting, it will be over.
By our next meeting, it will be over, and hopefully we have just tons of money
I know.
to the capital or the interest-bearing account that the town holds for us. We did get one of our auction members did talk to GBI, Louis Ticino, and got a $1,000 grant from him that we've given into the interest-bearing account already. And then also Betsy Youngsma gave $50 that we've put in there. And that's something, Dawn, that maybe when your initial stuff to on Facebook is great. And
Yes.
you might, and I'm not sure how it all works, but there is a way to provide a
Yes,
cash
you can post the
donation.
link
If
on
you
there.
don't want to bid on anything, you can give up your money just without buying anything for this.
Yeah, I was asking about that because I fell short trying to think of a clever idea to donate, and I didn't think to check that exactly. But is there not just like a PayPal link on any of the websites?
There
you know?
is. There's a PayPal link on the Friends of the Library webpage, and there's also just a donate button on the auction webpage. So you can donate from either way.
Okay,
Uh,
I'll do it. I'll do a few.
I want to take like one of our really, really crappy rolls of industrial toilet paper and put it out there and kind of make that the, the white elephant thing that people can bid on.
We may be bidding on that, you never know.
Yeah, right.
At one point,
Get ready for a quarantine, right?
what's the next thing that people are going to afford?
If you've missed coming to the library and experiencing our one-ply discount WB Mason toilet paper that's going to tear when you try to use it, here's your
It
chance
makes you feel like you're at home.
if you miss it. This toilet paper will always be there for you in a time of an emergency because there's no way you would use it if it wasn't one.
If you get down to this, you know it's serious.
Yeah, the auction is still, they have a deadline of October 1st, I think. They'll
Right.
still take, if you want to give donations before then, they will take donations up to October 1st.
Right. So I will do, so like you mentioned, Ellie, I did a few of those already. I'll do some more. Well, definitely when it's live, and we've got 2 weeks, right, or so for the whole thing to go on. So I'll do some more. And I see that donate button now, so I'll make a point to mention that too.
Mm.
I also made
So
a-
much
a
good
blog
stuff.
post.
Everyone's gonna want something.
There's a new blog post on the website, Dawn. If you want to link to that as well, it has, there's actually a write-up now on the library website that says, here's the website instead of saying the website's coming soon. So that's all updated.
Okay.
Now, I thought I had done it for yesterday, but I guess maybe I did it for next Monday. I did put something on the fire station sign. I did submit it
Oh, good.
a long time ago, so
Great.
hopefully it gets up there. And I asked them to please confirm it, and I haven't heard a thing from them, so maybe I'll check again with them.
Well, they're busy hiring that deputy fire chief. So they're busy, right?
Yeah, maybe that will be his job. I didn't say that.
Let's bite our tongues, okay?
I know, I'm trying to think of where else we can promote it, because I'm sure you'll put it on the sign, Justin. I guess they would just go to the main library site to get the link, because the link isn't super memorable.
Yeah. As long as they remember the libraries, that they should start memorizing the library's website. So
Even I just ended up on the San Francisco library. I don't even
yeah,
know.
I know, I do that all the time, but you have to put my in front of it, and then you don't end up in San Francisco. But that happened to me for quite a while.
And it's right there on the front page. It's the featured content that's next to pandemic operations.
Okay.
Well, I can do this on my phone. I don't want that.
Okay, are we good with, now you're getting me confused, Justin.
He was going to pull up the website, I think.
Confusing myself.
All right. Okay, the flying bombers.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it looks great. So kudos to everybody who worked on that. There's some really great.
Yeah, it is like really professionally done. I love it. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
It's here. Auction update. Live and ready to view. It has that information on how it's working. That's kind of taken straight from the auction site itself. And it's also on the Friends page.
Is there a way that we can try to get other town departments involved in promoting it? Or is that?
Well,
not?
we did get the fire, no, the police department did give, a free ride to school with the dog.
I think
Yeah,
that.
so that's pretty cool.
I love that
The
dog.
fire department didn't follow up with any, they said they would do something and then they didn't.
Well,
There's
they're busy.
one of the members of the committee has a young son and she was very anxious to have these rides in these, a police car and on a fire engine. She was gonna go broke bidding on these items. So he was the one that really went to town getting them, and then but the fire department unfortunately hadn't. I think they were busy trying to get their $90,000
But
deputy.
no, I understand that, Ellie, and I totally agree. But what I'm saying is that for the other departments, do other departments have their own websites that they can promote it on? Like put a link on their website, like the selectmen. Do the selectmen have a website, or
Nothing that
or
you
even
want to
Town of
read.
Douglas?
Not
The
news
Town of
there.
Douglas
Very
website.
active.
Can there be a link on that?
I
Is
What,
that
the senior center?
Something there.
Yeah, I was thinking the senior center.
Yeah.
But again, we're trying to make it through the whole area.
Yeah,
So
and recreation, do they have for all their sports stuff going on, do they have a website that they use? Do you know, Dana, if they
good.
have anything that? No, you don't. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard anything.
Okay. I mean, they don't have a URL to the recreation for signing up for soccer practice and stuff like that.
I just get an email like once a year.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they were the only department with its own website.
Interesting.
But maybe not websites, but maybe like a.
But what about the town of Douglas, the town of Douglas website? Can there be?
Well, we should have said something asked Keith Menard to mention it at town meeting, and we didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and or have it put in by the finance committee in their brochure that they send out to the whole town. That would have been wise, but we weren't that smart. So.
But I'm also thinking like on paper, we could post something if it's not there already at the post office and the senior center.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
I don't know if that's the best image, Justin. That showed the library and it was a donation item. I just did a
That
screenshot.
is cute. I love it. I think that's sweet.
Yeah. So I don't know. Don't want to.
It looks like, you know what, Dawn? It looks like something from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Oh my gosh,
Doesn't
it does.
Yeah, well, Justin has a friend that's going to make felt little librarians and patrons that go in it.
Oh, cute.
Oh my God. You know what? I just spent a week gutting my house, cleaning out cabinets, closets. We cleaned out our barn for the first time since we've lived here, but I really would like that. I already donated a huge thing, so anyhow.
Yeah,
I
you
like
can
that.
keep it for a year, Danielle, and then donate it again next year when we have our auction.
That is sweet. I love it.
I wonder where she put the knife.
All right.
Yeah. Kate, I don't suppose you want to do something printed for a couple spots.
Something printed for, like a flyer?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, I can do that.
and then maybe we could do it, maybe some of the businesses around town, like the convenience stores I'd be happy to, help to go around and advocate for them. And we know the post office will let us go in there, but the other ones might need a little encouragement, but not much.
Yeah.
If we
I frequent the Family Convenience Center, so I could go there for sure.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I could go to the one in the center of near the library across the hall there,
yeah.
across the road rather. Um, and yeah,
Um,
maybe the pizza
Picket
places.
Fence.
Yep.
You might be willing to put something up.
Are people going inside or just in the tent?
I don't know. As far as I know, it was outside dining, but she's going to have to figure out what she's going to do with that as it gets colder.
Right.
Uh, just trying to think of the more friendly establishments in town.
Right.
There are so many people who go in the convenience center. But you know what the other thing is? There's so many things they post on their windows that it gets lost. It does.
Right. It
Kind
can
of
get
gets,
lost for sure.
yeah. I'm not sure how much. Yeah, I mean, we can try that, but I'm not sure how much. Maybe the post office. The post office is a place where people
Yeah.
might stop and look.
Yeah. There's not all that
Um,
much going on.
yeah.
I only get the big one with the fire.
Senior center, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody sit around Facebook.
What about the school department? We've done a lot of help to them in the last couple of years.
Yeah, and they have a website.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I posted in the Uxbridge group too, and really to that point, it's not like you have to be, unless you're buying something really large and local, you can be from anywhere to bid on this stuff.
Right,
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
So we can
Absolutely.
put it all on our own Facebook and it can reach your relatives in Iowa or whatever is the case may be.
Sure, I'll do that.
Delivering to Iowa, though.
But it depends what it is, right? If it's books,
Right.
you can put it in a, you might have to, belly up for
I have
the
to
cost.
purge my friends list right now.
But most of our friends are probably not that within a half an hour, right? A half an hour. It doesn't have to be far. But what I'm saying is, could be from Westboro or the Cape or
Absolutely.
Well, that means all your friends or your relatives will come and visit you to
That's
pick up
right.
their loot.
At a distance.
Was scared
That's
to
a
death.
good thing, right?
Picked up 3 crates full of Linux horse and like unicorn carousel sculpture-y things today.
Mhm.
And it's like worth 4 times as much as my car.
Crazy.
Wow. So you got all the ceramic stuff?
Yep.
Good.
If my mother were alive, she would be bidding on those horses.
Well, I'm thinking that, like I might look up like because I'm sure that there's like an online enthusiast community for people.
Well, that's Linux. Those are Linux, right?
Mhm.
Are they from Linux? Those
Yep.
horses, are they Linux? So
Yeah.
you could look that up and look up collections and see what they're worth now. Because those go back a ways. You never know. Depends on how many were made.
I was thinking to find those like forums where people like that go and post to the auction there.
Oh, yeah, that is a good idea.
Well, you've always got eBay, but I don't think you can post a thing on eBay like that.
It would be hard because we'd have 2 auctions going on, and if 2 people got the same
Right.
thing.
Right.
Well, let's just hope we have more than one bid on each item. If you have 2 people bidding, that makes a race, and it's exciting then.
Right.
Right. Okay, so let's move on to new business. And Justin, I'm trying to read this on your screen, on my screen, and it's so small.
Oh, I wanted to let y'all know about 2 new services.
Right.
Curiosity Stream, you've probably already read about.
Mhm.
As it was in my last newsletter. It's more user-friendly than Canopy, doesn't limit patrons with play credits, and it's what you're getting with it. It's like Discovery Channel online, where Canopy has more material and a more variety of material, but I think it's kind of highbrow and hasn't resonated with people.
Mhm.
And people don't like to install an app on their phone or on their television or whatever if they're only going to be able to watch 10 things a month on it. So I'm hoping Curiosity Stream gets a lot more traction, and people have been enthusiastic about it. I don't know how many people have used it yet. There's not a dashboard I can go in and see that data, so I won't see it until they email it to me after the first month. Another bundle of stuff I wanted to run by you guys is the Central Massachusetts Library Advocates has negotiated a group contract with a company that provides online, it's mostly online tutoring. It's like a K through 12 service where you log in, you can set appointments, and it connects people with real people who can provide tutoring, language assistance, and that kind of stuff. That's Help Now, and Job Now is kind of the same thing, but it's resume building, career guidance, helping people with job transitions, and that kind of thing. So the deal that they've negotiated with is usually you have to pay a $2,000 buy-in, and they're waiving that. So we can subscribe for 12.5 cents per capita, which would be for us $1,058.88.
And that's for
So-
both.
Huh?
That's for both?
That's for both.
Yeah, I had looked into those when you sent that email out earlier, and it's pretty impressive. I think there's a place for both of those right now. There really is. With students being online and parents pulling out their hair, trying to work with them and help them. And then the job help is that's something that should be there all the time, no matter what, whether we're in a COVID crisis or not. I think that's crucial. And I think this shows our reaching out into the community as a service provider more than just somebody who's pushing books on people.
You say all the right things, Danielle. I'm the doubtful one. I would like to see how much it's used or the statistics behind it in other libraries in the area or statewide before committing. That's a good bit of dough to something that might not be used at all. So.
Okay.
So it's. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not in favor of it. I'm just saying I think we need statistics to see how much it is used.
No, I understand. I
think it's one of those things that theoretically makes sense and it's useful, but the question is,
People going
how many people, how do you promote it and market it so that people will use it? Because there are a lot of other services out there that do the same thing.
And that's why I bring it to you guys before making a commitment one way or the other, because to me, I mean, especially the Help Now would make sense because you've got all these parents now with kids in remote learning who need help with whatever, and they're not going to be able to find it.
Right.
As the Job Now, that for Douglas specifically, I don't know if it would get that much use. I don't think it would. I mean, Douglas is by and large a pretty affluent community. So I mean, this is one.
Yeah, there's two sides to it.
I'm
But
really
again, going back, okay, if we go back to, excuse me, talking about the auction, people don't have to be from Douglas to access this service, right?
Well, for this, they would be. I'm probably.
Okay.
I'm
Right.
sure there would be some way they verify whether or not you're
All
a patron
right.
of the library you're claiming you're on.
Okay, another question is, if we were to go, can you split those or do they come together? Like to say if we just wanted to go with help now.
I think you can split them. And I think that of the two, help now accounted for more of that cents per capita than job now did.
Okay. My suggestion is that we table this until the next meeting and try to get some data on two things. One on how many people are actually using it, and then what would the cost be to just do the help now if we chose to go with just one, and then bring it up for a vote next month.
I think that'll be past the deadline
Um,
to do it. Why is there a deadline? Why can't? No, now that I'm thinking of it, I mean, the fact that there is, because they just sent this survey out to libraries in the area asking if they were interested last week, and they're telling us that the deadline is the 29th, and that's a
You know
quick
what,
enough. I don't feel
they're
comfortable.
getting the state contract for it. And you
Well,
can
no,
buy-
it's not a state contract because it's not a state agency. CMLA is literally just a whole bunch of library
Oh,
directors
okay.
that got together to form their own 501c3.
Okay.
But with that degree of turnaround time kind of has alarm
Yeah,
bells.
that's,
Like
yeah,
a bit of a high pressure sales tactic.
yeah, it is.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I feel good about this, guys. Never mind.
Now that we talk
Okay.
about it. All right. Are we good?
Sometimes I just need you to talk me out of things.
Talk you down off the ceiling, right?
Oh, talk me down. Talk me down.
Well, if it's good, they'll do it again next year or 6 months from now or something, and they'll have better statistics to back it up without just trying to shove it down your throat.
I agree, Ellie. I think it sounds like somebody thought of it and it's a great idea, but at the last minute saying, okay, let's see how many, it obviously is the more libraries who take part in it, the less the cost will be per library. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So if the CMLA group has, what do they have for a membership, Justin?
I don't know. To be honest, I haven't kept up with them in a while.
All right, so, all right. It's an interesting idea, but looks like the trustees want to hold back on that. Right?
Yes.
Okay,
So they,
all right, do we have other new business?
no.
Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, our next meeting will be, I don't have my calendar in front of me,
October 27th.
October 26th.
I have it as the 27th, the Tuesday,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, 27th.
at 4.
Day of the week. Same back time, same back channel.
Yeah.
All
Did
right.
we all doing this, or do you want to try to meet in person next time? Or?
I'm good with this. I am. As long as we can do this, I'm good with it.
It's pretty convenient.
It is.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. All right. All right. I'll entertain them. Okay. I guess we've already adjourned.
Oh, there's everybody.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
Sounds
moved.
good.
All right, second.
Second.
Second,
All those in favor? Standing
Aye.
vote.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, guys.
bye.
Good talking to
Have a
everybody.
good night.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.